The aroma of newly mown grass and the faint buzz of a lawnmower painted the backdrop of my early hours. Yet today, while I was at the kitchen sink, the sun streaming in with a gentle warmth, an unexpected chill crept over me. There was an unsettling feeling in the air. The atmosphere was heavy with unease, and despite Thor's lively spirit, I felt the burden bearing down on me. My heart raced as the phone rang, breaking the stillness of the moment. Linda's voice carried a sense of urgency, weaving a tale of a scandal that felt as if it were knocking at our door. And then there was Jarrett, his face hidden in the shadows on the TV screen, a recognizable presence amidst the turmoil. What secrets lay beneath the surface? As the day progressed, an unsettling sense lingered within me, whispering that our seemingly flawless existence was on the brink of collapse. The aroma of newly mown grass mingled with the soft, far-off buzz of a lawnmower, creating a familiar backdrop to my early hours. Yet today, there was an unusual feeling in the air, as if it was thick with an unvoiced anticipation. As I stood at the kitchen sink, my hands immersed in the warm, soapy water, I found myself lost in the rhythm of washing the breakfast dishes. The sun poured into the room, wrapping everything in a golden light, yet it failed to chase away the lingering cold that had taken root deep within me. I looked out the window, observing Jarrett in the backyard, his figure framed by the beauty of our carefully tended garden. He tossed a frisbee to Thor, who leaped after it with a contagious enthusiasm that filled the air with excitement. Yet even the light-hearted spirit of Thor couldn't shake off the heaviness that felt like a burden upon my shoulders. As the phone rang, it pierced the stillness, breaking the calm that had settled in the room. With my hands dried on the dish towel, an unexplainable thrill coursed through me as I lifted the receiver. "Greetings." Though my voice remained calm, turmoil raged within me. "Hey, Katie, it's your neighbor Linda reaching out. Did you catch the latest headlines?" Her voice carried a sense of urgency, sharply differing from her typical cheerful nature. "What's going on?" I inquired, my intrigue heightened, while simultaneously fearing the response. Once upon a time, an unexpected event unfolded at the mayor's office, a break-in that would spark intrigue and curiosity among the townsfolk. Whispers are circulating about a link to Watergate. It's everywhere on the screen, weaving tales that capture attention. A chill ran down my spine as I felt a cold sweat bead on my forehead. The tale of Watergate unfolds with intrigue and drama, revealing a web of political scandal that captivated a nation. That word had floated through the air in quiet murmurs for months. A tale of intrigue that felt so far removed from our suburban haven, but now it was tapping gently at our threshold, or perhaps at the mayor's doorstep. "Thank you, Linda. I'll take a look at it." I ended the call, my thoughts swirling like a tempest. As I stepped into the living room, the familiar glow of the television welcomed me already, broadcasting the latest happenings from the local news. The screen came alive with vivid scenes of police tape and officers with serious expressions. The reporter's voice flowed softly, weaving together the latest developments into a captivating narrative. In the midst of the bustling crowd, my gaze was irresistibly pulled toward a shadowy figure, a man clad in a dark suit, his features hidden from view. He had an air of familiarity, a persistent feeling of having encountered him before that eluded my grasp. Jared strolled in, his cheeks rosy from the lively play with Thor. "What's happening?" he inquired, his gaze darting to the television. Once upon a time, an unexpected event unfolded at the mayor's office, a break-in that would spark intrigue and curiosity. "They believe it has connections to Watergate," I murmured, my voice barely rising above a whisper. Jared's expression shifted into a shadowy gloom. "That's inching a bit too near for ease," he murmured, his eyes fixated on the display. I looked at him, trying to read his expression for any hint of what could be weighing on his mind beyond the surface. "Have you heard any tales about this?" My inquiry was gentle, tinged with uncertainty. He gazed at me, his eyes shrouded in a mystery that eluded my understanding. "No, nothing at all. It's simply disconcerting, that's all." Yet his words seemed to contrast sharply with the tightness in his stance, the way his hands were balled into fists at his sides. I had a deep understanding of Jared more than anyone else, and this situation went beyond mere scandal. There was a hidden layer, a secret he was keeping from me. The day unfolded in its familiar cadence, yet a subtle tension lingered in the air, weaving through the moments like an unspoken tale. At dinner, the atmosphere was relaxed, brimming with the everyday happenings of our lives. Yet occasionally, Jared's eyes would wander to the window as if he were waiting for a moment or a figure to materialize. That night, as we lay in bed, the air was heavy with the weight of untold tales. I turned to face him, the moonlight weaving tales in the shadows that danced across his face. Jared, can you share what's happening? My voice was a mere whisper, yet it bore the heavy burden of my deepening doubts. He let out a deep, lingering sigh, a sound heavy with untold tales. Katie, there are tales I haven't shared with you. Let me share some experiences from my job, touching on recent events and happenings. My heart raced within me. What tales, I urged, my tone, unwavering, even as chaos swirled within me. He faced me, our gazes locking in the soft glow of the surroundings. It's a tale with many twists, Katie, but I assure you I'll share every detail. Tonight isn't the right time. The weight of the promise lingered in the air, thick with unspoken tension. As I lay there gazing at the ceiling, the life we had crafted together began to transform, revealing the fractures in our seemingly flawless facade. What could ever shatter the tranquility of such a perfect existence? It appeared that the solution was nearer than I had ever envisioned. On a leisurely Sunday afternoon, Jared was off at a company retreat, allowing me to savor the peaceful solitude of our home. As I strolled through the nearby park with Thor, the autumn leaves whispered tales of change, carpeting the ground in vibrant shades of gold and crimson. With an insatiable thirst for excitement, Thor leaped forward his tail, a whirlwind of enthusiasm. As we strolled, I found myself pondering the sameness that had settled into my marriage. Jared and I had settled into a rhythm, perhaps a bit too familiar with one another. The flame that once illuminated our evenings has faded to a mere glimmer. I recalled those moments when we would lose ourselves in conversation, sharing laughter, and discovering the depths of each other's thoughts and feelings. It felt as if we were merely following a script. Our closeness diminished to a series of familiar, expected moments that no longer held the fire of our past. The crisp autumn breeze stood in stark relief to the comforting warmth of cherished recollections rushing to the forefront of the mind. I remember those times when Jared would whisk me away on unexpected adventures or take me on late-night drives to gaze at the stars, moments that made our bond feel truly alive. Now those memories felt like whispers from a time long past, soft and elusive. As I made my way back home, the aroma of dinner filled the air, yet my mind wandered to distant tales and memories. Thor, attuned to my feelings, lingered nearby, his head gently resting on my lap, while I sat on the couch, adrift in contemplation. Asterisk. What tales were left untold? What was it that I genuinely longed for? Asterisk. The question lingered in my mind as I mindlessly chopped vegetables, the knife's steady thud against the cutting board echoing the fading pulse of our once lively connection. I attempted to concentrate on what I needed to do, yet my thoughts wandered back to that moment when Jared and I shared a genuine bond. Once upon a time, during a fierce storm, the lights flickered and then vanished, plunging everything into darkness. In the soft glow of the candles, we rediscovered one another, if only for a fleeting evening. The connection was deep, unfiltered, and it ignited a desire within me for something genuine and enduring. I arranged the table for one, the solitude of the setting, a poignant reminder of Jared's absence. As I dined, the quiet enveloped me, punctuated solely by the gentle sound of my fork meeting the plate. There was an undeniable sense that our shared journey was gradually settling into a familiar, yet uninspired pattern. After dinner, I strolled into our bedroom, the space where countless cherished memories had come to life. I perched on the edge of the bed, my fingers gliding over the gentle fabric of the sheets, recalling moments when these sheets had witnessed far more than mere slumber. I reclined gazing at the ceiling as memories from our history danced through my thoughts. Once Jared surprised me by coming home early, and we found ourselves shared a spontaneous moment of closeness, the excitement of the unexpected igniting the flames between us. Now those moments seemed like echoes from a distant past, overshadowed by a monotonous, almost sterile routine. Thor leaped onto the bed, his presence a warm reassurance next to me. As I ran my fingers through his soft fur, I felt a deep sense of comfort in the simplicity of his love. My reflections, however, were far from straightforward. Asterisk, was it only me? Had I transformed in some way, Or had we both subtly grown distant without realizing it? Asterisk. The quiet of the home painted a backdrop for my reflections. As I pondered the mysteries Jared alluded to, I noticed the tightness in his stance, the depth in his gaze that held an unspoken narrative I struggled to understand. What secrets lay beneath the surface, and why at this moment, when our union seemed to be at a pivotal juncture, I switched on the radio, seeking solace in the melodies to quiet the chaos in my mind. The lyrics of a love song felt like a playful jab at my situation, weaving tales of passion and yearning of flames that refused to extinguish. The disparity between the song's hopeful melody and the weight of my existence felt overwhelming. As the night deepened, I felt a pull to reach out to Jared, craving the warmth of his voice, a brief moment of connection in the stillness. The phone rang, and as he picked it up, his voice carried a blend of astonishment and weariness. "Hey, how's the gathering unfolding?" I inquired, making an effort to maintain a cheerful tone. "It's moving along," he responded, his tone far away. "How are you managing things at home?" "I'm doing fine." I concealed the truth, the burden of my reflections pressing down on my heart, thinking of you and the moments we've shared. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, enveloped in a hush that carried the weight of untold narratives. "I feel the same way, Katie. I'll return shortly, and then we can have a chat." "All right, concerning all matters." The promise lingered like a lifeline cast into turbulent waters, leaving me to wonder if it would find its way to me before it was too late. I ended the call, and the chill in the room deepened, amplifying the sense of isolation around me. I settled back, feeling Thor's warmth beside me, a slight solace as I wrestled with thoughts swirling in my mind about what lay ahead for Jared and me. The night unfolded, every tick of the clock echoing the passage of time, a testament to the life we had woven together, now balancing precariously on the brink of the unforeseen. That evening after dinner, I chose to relax with a glass of wine and a captivating book. Thor, my steadfast friend, rested by my side. In the softly lit room, the gentle ticking of the clock intertwined with the occasional rustle of pages, creating an atmosphere ripe for tales waiting to unfold. As I savored my wine, a peculiar feeling washed over me, a blend of solitude and an unnameable desire. In a moment of vulnerability, I turned to Thor, hoping to find solace in his presence. The events that unfolded next were beyond anything I could have ever imagined. In a moment of deep emotional struggle, perhaps fueled by the wine, I ventured into territory that was never meant to be explored. The bond I felt with Thor was unexpected and beyond my comprehension. At that time, it unfolded like a whirlwind, a moment of poor decision-making that plunged me into a realm of disbelief and uncertainty. The following morning, the burden of my choices loomed over me, heavy and palpable. Every time my gaze fell upon Thor, a wave of guilt and confusion washed over me. How did I allow the situation to unfold like this? The sun poured through the windows, casting a glow that seemed to point out the divide between the vibrant world outside and the shadows that lingered within me. I occupied my hands with tasks attempting to wipe clean the recollection of the previous evening. Yet each noise, each shift echoed the actions I had taken. The dwelling which had once embraced me in warmth now loomed like a prison, every corner resonating with the weight of my errors. As the hours passed, I felt a growing distance from Thor, unable to confront him. His typical enthusiasm for the spotlight now felt like a quiet accusation. As I lingered at the kitchen table, my fingers curled around a mug of coffee that had long lost its warmth. I found myself lost in thought, gazing into the distance. How can I possibly confront Jared after everything that has happened? The question lingered in my mind, weaving itself into the fabric of my thoughts. I understood that I needed to share the truth with him, yet the anticipation of his response, the possible heartbreak, sent my heart racing with trepidation. I envisioned his expression, the bewilderment, the pain, the sense of treachery. Can our union endure this challenge? Several times I reached for the phone, my finger poised above the dial. Yet each time I let it slip away, the thoughts eluded me. How do you share a truth so unimaginable? The afternoon stretched endlessly, and I wandered through the house, my thoughts swirling with a mix of regret and fear. I found myself in need of a conversation. Yet I pondered, who could I share my thoughts with? Linda. My neighbor was simply not an option. This felt far too intimate, far too embarrassing. As the sun dipped below the horizon, stretching shadows throughout the room, I realized that the weight of solitude was becoming too much to endure. I reached out to Linda, not to share my secrets, but to find a hint of the ordinary in my life. "Hey, Linda, it's Katie here." I spoke, my voice trembling. "Hey, Katie, how are you managing while Jared is gone?" Her voice danced with joy, a vivid contrast to the storm brewing within me. "I'm navigating through it all," I responded, my voice trembling. "It seems like there's a sense of solitude creeping in, doesn't it? How about you swing by for a little while? I've got some tea and we can share tales," she suggested, her tone warm and inviting. With a heavy heart, I lingered at the threshold. The idea of stepping outside of encountering another soul felt like an insurmountable challenge. Yet the longing for companionship, for a diversion, was all-consuming. "Absolutely. I'll be there in no time." As I made my way to Linda's, it was as if I had stepped into a surreal narrative, each footfall weighed down by the weight of my hidden truth. Her house stood as a symbol of everyday life, the glow from her windows illuminating the shadows that lingered inside me. In her warm and inviting living room, the soothing scent of chamomile tea enveloped us. Linda wove tales of neighborhood gossip and the latest twist in the Watergate saga, but my thoughts drifted lost in another world. "Katie, you appear to be a little out of sorts. Is everything all right?" Linda's worry was palpable, her gaze probing into mine, seeking the truth hidden within. I inhaled deeply, the thoughts swirling in my mind, yet I found myself unable to voice them. Instead, I offered a faint smile, perhaps feeling the absence of Jared a bit too keenly. "Today has felt like quite the journey." She nodded, a sign of understanding, yet the curiosity sparkled in her eyes. Our conversation flowed, yet my thoughts were in a whirlwind. How could I ever share this with Jared? How might I share the mysteries that defy understanding? As I made my way back, the stillness enveloped me like a heavy blanket. As I opened the door, Thor stood there, his tail a blur of excitement, completely unaware of the tempest brewing inside me. I knelt down, my fingers gliding through his fur, feeling the warmth that enveloped me, yet it carried a shadow of my misstep. I settled down for the night, yearning for the sweet embrace of slumber, yet it danced just out of reach. I found myself lying there, gazing up at the ceiling, the silence of the room amplifying the noise of my thoughts. What have I created? The question lingered in the stillness of the night, bringing with it the understanding that my life, our life, could be forever altered. In the shadows of tomorrow, a sense of unease crept in, and for the first time, I found myself apprehensive about what lay ahead. The following morning, the burden of my choices pressed upon me, heavy and inescapable. I steered clear of Thor, unable to meet his gaze without being overwhelmed by a tide of guilt and uncertainty. As Jared came back, his lively narration of the retreat seemed to taunt the chaos brewing within me. I smiled and nodded. Yet deep within, I was falling apart. As time slipped by, my hidden truth grew heavier, like a burden that refused to heal. I started to pull away from both Jared and Thor, my exchanges turning routine and lifeless. My once vibrant life now felt like a tale unfolding, where I was merely a character, delivering lines devoid of feeling. The memory of that night lingered in my mind, a vivid recollection of the moment when enveloped in a fog of solitude and sorrow. I had ventured into uncharted territory with Thor, a boundary that was never meant to be breached. The moment was brief, a misstep that plunged me into a whirlwind of disbelief and uncertainty. Each time Thor came near, his tail, happily wagging, a surge of nausea washed over me, a haunting reminder of my treachery. Jared, feeling the change in our relationship, sought to close the widening distance between us. He would extend his hand, his touch soft, his voice laced with care. "Katie, it feels like there's a gap between us. Is all well with you?" His eyes sought mine for the unspoken truths. Yet I found myself unable to confront his gaze, afraid that he might uncover the reality reflected in my eyes. "I'm feeling a bit worn out, Jared." "It's nothing," I would respond, my voice empty the falsehood, leaving a sour taste in my mouth. But it was something significant. The secret wrapped around me like a heavy cloak, each breath becoming a battle, a struggle against its weight. I began to distance myself from Jared, worried that any moment of closeness could expose the weight of my guilt. Our bed, which used to be a sanctuary of warmth and intimacy, now resembled a desolate, frigid landscape. In those still moments when Jared was occupied with work or lost in his own reflections, I would find myself in the living room gazing at the empty TV screen, my thoughts circling back to that scene time and again. The sun poured through the windows, casting a glow that seemed to point out the difference between the vibrant world outside and the shadows that lingered inside me. I sought refuge in the rhythm of everyday life, believing that the ordinary tasks would soften the edges of my remorse. With a passionate intensity, I set about cleaning the house, as though each stroke of the cloth could erase the echoes of my past deeds. Yet each corner, each room, appeared to resonate with the sound of my blunder. Thor, steadfast and true, would accompany me, his presence a perpetual echo of loyalty. Every time I glanced his way, a wave of self-disgust washed over me. His innocent eyes, once a wellspring of solace, now appeared to scrutinize me in silence. One evening, as Jared was preparing the table for dinner, he stopped gazing at me with a puzzled expression. "Katie, there's something important we need to discuss. There's been a change in you since my return from the retreat. What tales are unfolding?" The fork I was holding slipped from my fingers, creating a sharp sound as it hit the plate. My heart raced, the truth bubbling just beneath the surface. Yet the phrases eluded me. Instead, I whispered, "I'm just not feeling well, Jared. Perhaps it's the flu." He held back from probing deeper, yet I could sense the uncertainty in his gaze, as worry transformed into a hint of mistrust. That night, as we lay in bed, the air was heavy with the weight of untold tales. I turned to face him, the moonlight weaving tales in the shadows across his face. "Jared, can you share what's truly happening between us?" My voice was a mere whisper, yet it bore the heavy burden of my escalating fear. He exhaled deeply, a prolonged sound that felt heavy with untold tales. "Katie, there are tales I haven't shared with you. Let me share some experiences from my job, reflecting on recent events and happenings." My heart raced with every beat. "What tales?" I urged, my tone unwavering, even as chaos swirled within me. He faced me, our gazes locking in the soft glow of the room. "It's a bit of a tale, Katie, but I assure you, I'll share all the details. Tonight is not the right time." The weight of the promise lingered in the air, thick with unspoken tension. As I lay there gazing at the ceiling, the life we had woven together began to unravel, the fractures in our seemingly flawless story coming to light. What could ever shatter the peace of such a perfect existence? It appeared that the solution was nearer than I had ever envisioned. As the days rolled on, each one unfolded like a chapter filled with the challenge of keeping up appearances. I would observe Jared from the periphery of my vision. Each of his gestures, each of his phrases, now appeared to hold a deeper significance. Could it be that he had a secret of his own? Did our union, our journey together, unfold as a tapestry woven with hidden truths and deceptions? Would my hidden truth stay concealed, or would it rise to unravel everything? The question lingered in my mind, weaving its way through the fabric of my everyday existence. A lingering sense of dread followed me, weaving through each moment of my journey. I understood I needed to share the news with Jared, yet the anticipation of his response, the possible heartbreak, sent my heart racing with trepidation. I envisioned his expression, the bewilderment, the pain, the sense of treachery. Can our love endure this challenge? My hand reached for the phone repeatedly, my finger poised above the dial. Yet every time I found myself placing it back down, the words eluded me. How do you share a truth so unimaginable? The afternoon stretched endlessly, and I wandered through the house, my thoughts swirling with a mix of remorse and anxiety. I found myself in need of a confidant, yet I pondered, who could it be? Linda, my neighbor, was simply not an option. This felt incredibly intimate, almost too embarrassing to share. As the sun dipped below the horizon, stretching shadows throughout the room, I realized that the weight of solitude had become too much to endure. I reached out to Linda, not to reveal my secrets, but to find a hint of normal life again. "Hey Linda, it's Katie here." I spoke, my voice trembling with emotion. "Hey Katie, how are you managing while Jared is away?" Her voice danced with joy, a vivid contrast to the storm brewing within me. "Text. I'm handling things," I responded, my voice wavering. "It seems like there's a sense of solitude creeping in, doesn't it? How about you swing by for a little while? I've got some tea and we can share some tales." she suggested, her tone warm and inviting. In that moment of uncertainty, I paused. The idea of stepping outside of encountering another soul feels nearly insurmountable, yet the longing for companionship to escape reality was all-consuming. Absolutely, I'll be there in no time. As I made my way to Linda's, it was as if I had stepped into a surreal narrative, each footfall weighed down by the weight of my hidden truth. Her house stood as a symbol of everyday life, the glow from her windows illuminating the shadows that lingered inside me. In her warm and inviting living room, the soothing scent of chamomile tea enveloped us. Linda wove tales of neighborhood gossip and the unfolding drama of the Watergate scandal. Yet my thoughts drifted far beyond her words. Katie, you appear to be a little out of sorts. Is everything all right? Linda's worry was palpable, her gaze probing into mine, seeking the truth. I inhaled deeply, the phrases swirling in my mind, yet I found myself unable to voice them. Instead, I offered a faint smile. It seems like there's a story waiting to be told about Jared's absence. Today has felt like an endless journey. She nodded, comprehension evident, yet the spark of curiosity danced in her eyes. Our conversation flowed on, yet my thoughts were in a whirlwind. How could I ever share this with Jared? How might I convey the ineffable? As I made my way back, the stillness enveloped me like a heavy blanket. As I opened the door, Thor stood there, his tail wagging joyfully, completely unaware of the tempest brewing inside me. I knelt down, my fingers gliding through his fur, feeling the warmth radiate from him, yet it carried a shadow now, a reminder of my misstep. I retired early, yearning for the sweet embrace of slumber, yet it danced just out of reach. I found myself lying there, gazing up at the ceiling, the silence of the room enveloping me, while my thoughts echoed in my mind. What have I created? The question lingered in the stillness of the night, bringing with it the profound understanding that my life, our life, could be forever altered. In the shadows of tomorrow, a sense of unease crept in, and for the first time, I found myself apprehensive about what lay ahead. One evening, the tension reached its peak when Jared, sensing my distance, decided to confront me. His unease was evident, his tone tinged with apprehension. Katie, what seems to be troubling you? You've been so far away, he said, his gaze probing into mine for the truth. Once upon a time, the dam gave way. The urge became too strong to resist. As the emotions poured out, I laid bare my soul, sharing every secret that weighed heavily on my heart. The atmosphere grew heavy, a palpable tension hanging in the air as shock and treachery intertwined. Jared's expression shifted from worry to dread, ultimately settling into a visage of anguish. He rose from his seat, made his way to the window, and gazed into the darkness beyond, his back turned toward me. What fate awaits us now? The stillness lingered every moment, feeling like an eternity. The tension in his shoulders was palpable, and his hands clutched the windowsill tightly, as if it were his only anchor in a storm of emotions. At last he faced me, his eyes tinged with red, his voice carrying a blend of pain and uncertainty. Katie, how could you do that? What led you to make this choice for us? His words landed on me with the force of a heavy strike. Jared Vorface. I can't quite explain what just happened. In that fleeting instant, vulnerability and solitude intertwined. It was never my intention for things to unfold this way. I truly apologize. He shook his head, his face a canvas painted with a whirlwind of feelings. Apologies can't rewrite the past. Katie, what will it take for me to believe in you once more? What journey can we embark on to overcome this? The atmosphere thickened as if the very walls were leaning in, amplifying the weight of what lay before us. I rose to my feet, my legs trembling, and approached him. Yet he retreated, widening the gap that separated us. I'm going to need some time, Katie. It was a moment for reflection, a chance to sift through everything that had just unfolded. He murmured, his voice soft and contemplative. The following days unfolded like a whirlwind. Jared took a brief journey away from home, finding refuge with a friend. The house was devoid of life, the stillness heavy in the air. Thor, feeling the shift in the air, would frequently perch by the door, eagerly anticipating Jared's arrival. I sought to occupy my time to drown the emptiness with tasks and responsibilities. Yet each nook of the home echoed with the memory of my error. The bed that once cradled our laughter and whispers now lay silent, a stark reminder of what once was. One evening, while I found myself in solitude in the living room, the phone suddenly rang. It was Jared, the one who always had a tale to share. My heart soared with the possibility of mending, yet his tone felt cold and detached. "Katie, there's something important we need to discuss. Shall we gather at the park tomorrow?" The following day, I found myself at the park before anyone else, my nerves on edge. The autumn leaves crunched beneath my feet, their brilliant hues standing out against the chaos swirling within me. As Jared stepped in, his expression was a mystery and his stance was rigid. As we strolled quietly, the gentle rustle of leaves and the faint laughter of children filled the air around us. At last, he began to share his voice, barely above a whisper. "I've been reflecting deeply on our journey, on the moments we've shared. I'm uncertain about the possibility of forgiveness, Katie, yet I feel a desire to attempt it for our sake, for the memories we once shared." A spark of optimism danced in my heart, yet it was swiftly dimmed by the harsh truths of our circumstances. "Jared, I get it if you need some space. I'm committed to finding a way to set things straight." He paused in his steps, pivoting to look at me. "It's more than just time, Katie. It's a journey of faith, of piecing together what has been broken. I'm curious to find out if you're open to collaborating on that with me." Once more emotions surged, but this time they were fueled by a fierce resolve. "Indeed, Jared. I am. I am determined to make things right and regain your trust." He nodded, a gentle warmth flickering in his gaze. "Let us begin this journey with truthfulness. All truths laid bare, no more shadows between us." We decided to embrace each day as it comes to seek guidance together and to rekindle the bond we once shared. The journey before me was unclear, filled with obstacles, yet for the first time since I had shared my truth, a glimmer of hope pierced through the shadows. As we said our goodbyes that evening, a sense of hopeful anticipation filled the air. The path to healing our relationship would be filled with challenges, yet there was a glimmer of hope that we might rediscover the connection we once shared. What tales await us now? The question remained, yet it was now paired with a determination to battle for our love, to restore the life we had created side by side. The aftermath unfolded like a tapestry of feelings. Jared left seeking solitude to navigate the feelings of betrayal. Our marriage, which had once painted a picture of suburban happiness, had now become a tale of my poor choices. I embarked on a journey of self-discovery, delving into my past to uncover the reasons behind my choices and to seek the peace of forgiveness within my heart. Thor, the one who had done no wrong, stood steadfastly beside me, his loyalty unshakable. Our bond evolved, transforming into a journey of companionship above all else. The connection we once had was now shadowed by my remorse, an unending echo of that fateful evening. Years have passed, and I remain in the same house, yet the white picket fence has faded into a mere recollection of days gone by. I've come to embrace my mistake, not as a pivotal event, but as a chapter in my ongoing narrative. The dwelling once brimming with joy and warmth now resonates with the stillness of my thoughts. Jared and I, despite our divorce, have discovered a path to coexist peacefully. Every now and then, our journeys intersect, a subtle reminder of the past we shared. The ache has softened, yet the mark endures, a reminder of the intricate tales woven through our connections with one another. Through my journey, I discovered that my behaviors were a reflection of a longing for something I sensed had slipped away, a bond that had diminished with the passage of time. I discovered the power of self-forgiveness, not as a means to forget what has been, but to carry it with me as I journey ahead. I've embraced gardening, discovering peace in cultivating life from the soil, a vivid departure from the chaos I previously cultivated in my personal life. The flowers and vegetables I cultivate represent a journey of renewal, a fresh beginning, even when the seeds are sown in earth marked by past mistakes. Thor, now a bit more seasoned, continues to walk beside me, his company a source of solace. We've found our rhythm strolling through the park, where memories of time spent with Jared linger, now accompanied by the comforting presence of a steadfast companion. As the sun sets, I find myself in the living room, the TV quietly humming in the background, serving more as a companion than a source of entertainment. The news, once a source of unease, now washes over me like a gentle tide, a testament to the relentless march of life continuing on regardless of our wishes. And so life unfolds, weaving its intricate tapestry of experiences and insights in the serene aftermath of a tempest. What adventures await Katie, shaped by the experiences that have defined her journey? The future, much like the garden I nurture, holds a blend of uncertainty and promise. I've realized that life is a journey where we embrace our missteps and grow from them. The house once filled with turmoil has transformed into a haven of tranquility, a place where I can ponder my path, my development, and the wisdom gained along the way. I've begun to weave my thoughts and experiences into narratives, not solely for my own reflection, but with the hope that they might resonate with others navigating their own turbulent waters. My tale isn't one of conquering challenges, but of coexisting with them, of discovering serenity in the wake of it all. Jared has carved out his own path, and although we may not share a close bond, there's an understanding of the experiences we've both navigated. Our occasional gatherings are courteous, brimming with light conversations about the weather, the neighborhood, or the most recent community happenings. Therapy sessions may have dwindled in number, yet they have armed me with the means to navigate my feelings, grasp my desires, and express them more effectively. I've discovered the art of embracing solitude, finding joy in my own company, and treasuring the bonds that remain. As I gaze into the garden, with the sun dipping behind the trees, I reflect on the enduring spirit of life. Much like the resilient plants that flourish anew after a careful trim, I have discovered my own path to thriving. Though it takes a different shape than it once did, what tales await Katie? In the days to come, it carries the hope of ongoing development, of rediscovering self-love, and maybe in time encountering someone who can truly grasp the richness of my history and the resilience it has instilled in me. Until then, I embrace each day with a fresh sense of wonder for the simple moments, the stillness, and the deep insights that life has shared with me. If you enjoyed the tale, be sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. This will help us craft more captivating narratives for you.